Hello everyone, and welcome to What Should Happen Next, AEW, where we're going to break down this week's episode of AEW Dynamite, talk about what should happen next if we want to have some logical long-term booking. They had a really awesome episode of AEW this week, in my opinion. It started with a great match between Hangman Page and Brian Cage, and I like to describe this as a Brody Lee style squash match, because going into this, everyone expects the member that was associated with the Elite, Hangman Page, to be going over. He's on this win record, he's number one in the rankings, and he's looking like a star right now. But then out of nowhere, Brian Cage comes in and pummels him. I thought that it was a really great showing for Brian Cage, and it was something that honestly Team Taz has needed. After months of them doing a lot of work and helping putting people over and carrying a lot of segments, it was good for them to finally get a win, and a meaningful win, other than just the wins that they've been getting against more mid-level talents. They've tended to be building a lot of great feuds and then having great matches and allowing the other person the honors of going over. But I think that Brian Cage is bona fide star material, and I think it will be really interesting to see where they go with this. And also, they protected Hangman Page by having a interference before the match, having Team Taz jump him and then him get powerbombed outside, which in WWE they like to say that the edge is the hardest part of the ring, but in AEW I feel like they try to sell that entrance walkway is not a ring. It's just like a wooden bridge that when you fall on it, it hurts. So I think that they did a great job of playing with that. And ultimately speaking, I think that it was the right thing to do. It makes it so they can continue to slow build Hangman Page against Kenny Omega, which we don't want to see too soon. We want Hangman to really be ready to conquer, but right now he should be afraid because he's already lost to Kenny Omega and doesn't feel like he is really a winner enough to challenge him. The next fight we had was the Young Bucks versus the Sydal brothers, and the Young Bucks were looking great. They've got the Seth Rollins jacket going. They were still doing a lot of fun spots, but have been doing what they've been doing in terms of leaning more into heel tactics and not giving us what we want. Usually a Young Bucks match would end with some flashy Meltzer driver or something like that, but instead they went with a Johnny Cage low blow, which on one hand is really great timing considering the success of the Mortal Kombat movie that was out last week. If you want to know more about that, I recently posted a review. But also I think that it was good because it's a cheap victory for them, and it makes the audience upset that why should they need to cheat to beat the Sydal brothers? They don't need to cheat, but they do because they don't want to give us what we want, and that's some great heel tactics right there. Next up, we had SCU came out, and they talked about how they, this is their last run probably. Their plan is to break up after they suffer their legs lost, and now that they're doing well in the rankings, they want to challenge for the championships. And they would be honored to lose to the Young Bucks that are their best friends, but these new Young Bucks, these heel Young Bucks that disrespect everything, they just want to beat them up. I thought that was some good heat. I think that when the Young Bucks end up beating them, it's going to be a little sad moment for a lot of people, but it'll also be one of those things that's kind of like a feather in their cap in terms of the horrible things that they've done to the audience as they broke up SCU, which honestly a lot of fans will be happy about, but it's kind of an end of an era type thing. So next there was a Jade Cargill pre-tape where she talked about how all these managers are trying to sign her, and they're all trying to get their cut, but really, they should, basically she was implying that they should be paying her to be her manager. And she's right, because if you are Jade Cargill's manager, you are in a money position, right? Being Paul Heyman is a good spot to be in. So if you can be associated with Jade Cargill, you're going to be making other money. You can afford to pay her a little bit of it. And she is awesome. I love Jade Cargill. I can't wait to see what happens with her. Next, we had Orange Cassidy against Penta. One of the things that I was discussing with my friends is that, really, philosophically speaking, there's an interesting parallel between Pentagon Jr. and Orange Cassidy, in the sense that Pentagon Jr. is all about no fear, while Orange Cassidy, he doesn't say that, but really that's a big part of his gimmick. Is the hands in the pockets is a display of disrespect, a display that I do not see you as a threat, and I do not need to take this seriously. I have no fear in this moment. So I thought that it was a really interesting clash of styles. I'd heard that this was the first time they've ever fought against each other one-on-one, and I thought that was really, they had great chemistry. They had some amazing spots. I thought they were both able to work their gimmicks in fun ways, including that amazing moment where Orange Cassidy was able to break the submission attempt by putting his hand in his pocket. And there was another moment where Orange Cassidy had tried to do a tope to outside the ring, and Pentagon caught him midair. And I believe he held him midair by one hand for a second, and that was impressive. But anyways, it was an awesome match, and Alex Abrahantes has been a star lately in terms of his contributions to these segments. I thought he did a great job, and I don't think the story is over. I think that this could be something that leads to us eventually in our trios tag team titles, which I am dying to have happen, because there's plenty of tag team wrestlers that deserve the rub and deserve the opportunity. The match ended, though, with Orange Cassidy getting over. But honestly, wins and losses matter, but also sometimes they don't matter as much, in terms of just like, this was a satisfying and fun step along the journey to the eventual blow-off, which I think will be a really great 3-on-3 best friends versus Death Triangle. Next, there is the Kingston Mox Kenny segment. Kingston came out for his match, but he said he wasn't going to do it, and then Nakazawa smacked him, and it ended up I can't believe I missed this. I didn't mention earlier in the episode when they had the segment in the limousine. This was a great segment where the Elite were looking really like video game villains. You had Kenny as the boss in his suit. You had Gallows licking his muscles, and Anderson didn't have any pants on, and you had the Young Bucks just looking like complete jerks. And in it, they had said that Kingston had to have a fight with Michael Nakazawa to get to him. So, anyways, him saying that Kingston needed to fight Nakazawa eventually led to the Kingston-Nakazawa match, which Kingston said he didn't want to do. He said it was nonsense until Nakazawa jumped him, and then Kingston basically threatened to break Nakazawa's leg, or his ankle, and Kenny just laughed it off and showed that he doesn't care about his goons. He's willing to sacrifice them. He said Nakazawa knows what he signed up for when he joined, and that Nakazawa wasn't his only goon. And then Brandon Cutler got in too, but Brandon Cutler wasn't he didn't come out of his own volition. He ended up being tossed out by Moxley, and Moxley started trying to choke out Kenny, and Kingston told Callis that he wanted to have a tag match against Kenny as soon as possible, and they said yeah. So that's going to be a match we have next week at Blood and Guts, is Nakazawa and Kenny Omega against Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley. I think that's going to be a great match on a great card. So then we had an interview between Tony Schiavone and Team Taz, and Taz was saying that since Brian Cage beat Adam Page, he should be the number one contender now, and he deserves title shots. But then Christian Cage came out, and they got into a little spat. Kind of the same stuff that they've been doing about how Taz doesn't have it anymore, so he's just leeching onto and taking advantage of these younger talents. It's all right. I'm not the biggest fan of what's going on with it because I don't want to see Team Taz continue to just job out to Christian Cage. I thought Will Hobbs should have won. I don't think that Christian should just be coming in and winning every match right now. He's not that impressive to me. I might get heat for that from a lot of people, but honestly, I want to see Team Taz getting more wins like that Brian Cage win. I think that Christian should kind of be put in his place a little and be taught that you can't just walk in and walk on water at AEW. You need to learn, and you need to adapt, and you need to grow, and he shouldn't just be ready yet. He also teased that it's going to be Christian against Ricky Starks, which is going to be a great match. I love Ricky Starks. I don't want Ricky to lose. I'm tired of Ricky losing. Ricky is so good. He deserves to have opportunities. Every time that he has a rivalry, he steps up. Every time he has a promo, he steps up. Every time he's on the mic for AEW Dark doing commentary, he steps up, and I think that it's time that he got rewarded. Next, they had Penelope Ford versus Chris Statlander, which was a great match. There wasn't that much to say about the match. It was a very entertaining, well-fought match. There wasn't too much story to it. There was a fun spot where Chris was jumping out to the outside, and Penelope thought that she was going to get crashed into, so Penelope covered herself. But Chris ended up just landing next to her and booping her on the nose. I think that they're getting closer with Chris Statlander, but I think that they're still having an issue nailing down what exactly her character is and how it works in this reality. It was great to see Kip Sabian back, and also when we ended up seeing him afterwards with his interaction with Miro, I thought that made Miro look like a beast. That made Miro look crazy. He attacked him and beat him for disappearing and abandoning and not responding to him. But after he seemingly broke his arm in the doorway, he kissed him on the head and said, "Good talk. Like, glad we got through this." So I guess they're going to be in an abusive friendship now, which I think will work for their dynamic. And I think that Kip is really good at playing scared, so I think that that's going to work out really well. We had a match between the Factory and the Family. I thought that this match, the spots that I cared the least about was Dustin versus QT. I thought Nick Comoroto looked amazing in this match. I thought that Lee Johnson, him and Solo, when they got going together, they had a great flow and energy, and they clicked together really well. And Billy Gunn is always solid, and I'm really starting to enjoy the Gun Club a little bit more in terms of him and his children working together. I think that what they're doing with Anthony Ogogo is so great, and I think that the fact that he can just come in and give you a punch to the gut and you're out is working so well in terms of him cheating and just being on the side like that, and it doesn't overexpose him. After the match, after he did that and the factory won, it descended into chaos as the Gun Club came out and fought, and QT went out and was confronted by, I guess he was trying to steal, they kept saying he was trying to steal the Nightmare Family's bus, but then Cody came out and fought him, and they ended up on top of the bus where Cody gave him a figure 4. And they're advertising Cody versus QT next week. I want Cody to lose. I don't want him to lose clean. I want the factory to cheat. I want the factory to prove that even if the Nightmare Family is prepared and has people there to counter them and stuff, they just can't overpower them right now. It's a new era, new changing of the guards, if you will. So speaking of changing of the guards, we also had the parlay between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle. I thought this segment was a really fun segment. I thought that everyone that touched the mic did a great job on it. I thought that Chris Jericho, even though he'd been criticized lately for one of his promos not being so great, I thought he brought the heat on this one. I think that Sammy kind of showed his crazy, and it'll be interesting to see how much that comes back to hurt him, since he gave up the advantage in the the Blood and Guts match. So at one point it's going to be 2-on-1 against him, and every time another person comes in, it's going to be kind of to their disadvantage. So they're building him as a face. They're building him to be brave and bold, and it's working. I thought that the Sean Spears, he had some good moments, but the clapback against him was just so good in terms of them saying that he isn't just a failure at AEW, he's a failure at his old place. When he did that, the Pinnacle looked so uncomfortable. MJF looked like he couldn't say anything about it. He couldn't argue with it. He was just kind of like frustrated, and I thought that they really nailed that. Ultimately speaking, I think that the Pinnacle should be winning the Blood and Guts match. It's too early in this new group's history for them to be losing their momentum, and I think that them having a dirty win, having them, I don't mean dirty to mean cheating. I mean dirty meaning like, I want it to be something that is upsetting to the audience to watch. I want it to be something that frustrates us, and something that makes it so that we really despise this group. Heels aren't about being cool. Heels are about being hated. And I think Pinnacle has a great opportunity to be hated. So the one match that we haven't discussed yet was the main event, the TNT title match between Darby Allin and 10. I'm a huge fan of Preston Vance, number 10. I think that he's been doing great. I thought that this was one of his best showings. I was so convinced that this could be the night that he becomes a TNT champion. And everyone that I was talking to were on the edge of their seats. Everyone was behind him. Everyone cares so much. And we were saying that it's truly a testament to AEW's booking and storytelling and the way that they get us emotionally invested in these people, where like most fans of 10 have no idea what his face even looks like, but they all care about him and see him as the like white knight under Brody Lee, like the one carrying his legacy as the next big guy, maybe. And I thought that he really brought it in this fight. I thought Darby also has been doing great work. I think every week he's been stepping up and showing that calling him the face of the company, the face of the network, isn't just an expression. He's proving it every week. It's also a funny thing because traditionally speaking, we all complain about roll-ups being like the most powerful move in wrestling, and it's unstoppable, a surprise roll-up, you just can't get out of it. But when Darby does them, it feels so much more real and so much more specific and so much more like he's really trying with the roll-up, and it feels like a signature move instead of just a weak pin attempt. And it also, in a way, is protecting the other people because, like, 10 at the end of it, you could see he was still totally fine. He wasn't beaten because he was hurt or giving up or this or that. He'd been outmaneuvered, and he's a big guy that got twisted up in a pretzel, and he didn't know how to get out. And there was a great moment of respect between 10 and Darby at the end, where Darby took 10's Brody Lee wrist armband and showed respect with that. But then also we got a great attack in the ring by Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. I love Ethan Page. I think he's such a great talent. I love watching his YouTube channel and his figure photography and everything. And I think that he's bringing something out in Scorpio Sky that SCU wasn't. They have this confidence and real jerk vibe to them that I think really works. And I'm excited to see where they go. It could be the kind of thing where they could be a tag team for a very long time and have success in tag teams, as both of them have had in the past. Or this could be leading towards them eventually blowing up on each other, which I think would also be a really, really great match. They were kind of stopped by Lance Archer, who came out to scare them away and everything. But Scorpio Sky was really attacking Sting. Like, there were moments where I was like genuinely concerned for Sting's knees, and like Sting took some bumps, and I was like, oh my god, please don't let just this segment be a thing that hurts Sting. And in that sense, they really worked us. They really worked us really well. I thought overall it was a phenomenal episode of Dynamite, as it usually is. I know a lot of people, they say, well, if it's usually a phenomenal episode, you can't give it a 5 out of 5. You have to treat it like that's a 3 out of 5. And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that, to me, this episode was a 5 out of 5. Every episode, if you leave it feeling fulfilled and satisfied and feeling like you can't wait for next Wednesday, it's a 5 out of 5 to me. I'm fully satisfied. Anyways, I think next week we're going to have a crazy, crazy good show. Blood and Guts feels like it's a pay-per-view on a Wednesday night, which I love about it. Like, I feel like I've been looking forward to this random Wednesday for a month. Which, how often can you say that about a show? That there's just a weekly episode you've been built for so long, with so much story and evolution to it. So next week we've got SCU versus Jurassic Express versus RC Blondes versus The Acclaimed in a 4-way tag team eliminator match. I think that's going to end up being Jurassic Express get the win. It could be a way of just shortcutting The Acclaimed back in, because Bowens is back from injury, so now they could get their momentum back. But I think most likely this is going to be a chance for Jurassic Express to earn a title shot. I know some people said, well, SCU said they're going to break up if they lose the fight, But they've shown before that that only applies to a one-on-one tag team match, not for like 3-ways, 4-ways, eliminators, Royal Rumble type things. We've also got Cody Rhodes versus QT Marshall. I think the thing that excites me the most about this match isn't either of them, even though I love Cody. It's what else is going to go on. What's going to happen with the factory? What's going to happen with the Nightmare family? What shenanigans shall be had? Kenny Omega, Michael Nakazawa versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston is going to be a banger for sure. I think we can all assume it's safe to say that Michael Nakazawa is going to be the one eating the pin on that one, if it isn't Eddie Kingston. But, I mean, every time that we can get Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley in the ring at the same time on a Wednesday night, I'm not going to complain about that. I think that, I can't believe I didn't mention this earlier, but when they were in the limo segment and Nakazawa accidentally hit the horn and they freaked out and they got so scared and the Young Bucks were looking at each other just like, are you freaking kidding me? You freaking kidding me? That was scary. And Kenny Omega with his "you mother father," they're having fun with it and being so entertaining, and they're just at an all-time high in terms of their game. I honestly can't wait to see what happens. And of course, next week we've got the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle in Blood and Guts. I said before, I want Pinnacle to win because I think that it's important to build new factions, right? Inner Circle had a great line about how you say that you're so close with these guys, you've known them maybe 3 months. We've been together since day one of AEW, and I thought that was so great. I was at the premiere in DC, and when they got united as a group, I was all for it. I loved Sammy Guevara already. I loved the Proud and Powerful already. I love Jericho already. Hager. The fact that they ditched the We the People thing made him get over with me really quickly. Now it's time for another group to get over. We will still love Inner Circle even if they lose this match. We saw that with the Stadium Stampede match. They lost the match and ended up selling more shirts. I have that shirt. It's a great shirt. And not only this, but they're also building towards other crazy stuff that we would have never expected to happen on AEW. Like, we're having an IWGP United States Championship match on AEW. A New Japan belt is being defended on TNT against a wrestler that has, like, not just some, like, up-and-comer, like, a guy that has been a name in professional wrestling since back in WCW, Yuji Nagata. And he still got it. I've watched some of his stuff in the last few years, and the guy still has it. I'm so excited to see this. And I'm so excited that this is just another sign of what's to come, in the sense that if you think Yuji Nagata coming to AEW Dynamite is exciting, just wait. Okada, Tanahashi, Ospreay, the real Bullet Club. We are going to get so much good stuff soon. I'm so excited about it. So overall, like I said, 5 out of 5 episode has me longing for next week already. If you have any thoughts or questions about it, tough, because I'm not taking any emails yet because I haven't set anything up like that. So, have a great week, and if you don't already, you need to be watching AEW Elevation and Dark, because that's where the future talent is coming from. Every week they're just showing great stuff. I'm thinking about doing reviews of Elevation and Dark because of investing in the future, because I think that those talents are going to be the big names in the next year. it's not like WWE where you hear about a name in developmental and then it's going to take 5 years for them to be something significant on TV. I remember the week that Will Hobbs won his first match on AEW Dark. I remember how excited we were. I remember when he came out and he had this confidence and swagger and like brutishness to him that he hadn't shown yet. And I literally sat there and went, okay, this is who he really is. When he doesn't have the job, this is now the character that we're going to be getting. And he has only elevated every week since then. Elevated, I guess that's why they call it elevation. So anyways, have a great week. I will talk to you later. Bye.